Hey guys, welcome back to Film Tech Media. Today we are at Cathay Photo and we have William here. William is a photographer based in Singapore who specializes in weddings, landscapes, portraits, travel and wildlife. He is also an ambassador for the Fuji X-T4 and his images have been published in both Asian and UK National Geographic magazines. Check this video out whereby he traveled to Hokkaido, Japan to capture wildlife using the X-T4.
Eastern Hokkaido is a natural paradise filled with wildlife, and winter is a good time to see some of them. We can see the white-tailed eagles and stellar sea eagles fighting for fishes on the frozen lake. I love to see them in flight. They are just so beautiful. There is a huge population of sika deer. We do see them quite often. They are huge and they look very majestic. The Izo red fox can be seen as we drive along the road. A very shy animal, but otherwise my presence does not bother it too much. This year has got very little snow in all of Japan, and I am happy to see the heavy snowfall upon us. Heavy snowfall creates interesting images, and the Izo red fox is at the perfect place for me to take a shot against the beautiful background. As we prepare to leave Hokkaido, we witnessed the dance of the red-crowned cranes again, dancing in unison to strengthen their lifelong bond.
So William, how do you start your photography journey?
Well, I'm not a natural born photographer, I guess. I used to be in the corporate world, but of course, in those days, photography is also an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
So of course, did not do it seriously until digital photography came about in, say, about 2006, 2007.
So your first professional photography was it weddings or?
Yeah, I guess a lot of photographers out there will agree with me. Wedding photography is definitely one genre of photography that a lot of people actually went in. Of course, wedding photography, there's no barriers to entry, so it's easy to get into it. And that was how it got started. I actually freelanced for quite a while, 1-2 years maybe, for my wedding photography before I decided maybe the business climate for that is quite okay. So by then I decided I'm fine enough to actually quit my job and go into this full time.
So what do you really like about photography?
Okay, I guess photography to me since young is always documentation of memories and history. So regardless whether you are shooting people or you are shooting landscapes or shooting a place that you like, it's always about a form of history. So of course when we talk about taking photos of people, sad to say, some people don't stay with you forever. Sometimes, whatever reasons, they are gone and whatever. And looking at photos do bring back a lot of memories. So, and that, of course, that is one aspect of wedding photography which I really enjoy. And even landscapes changes, every now and then. Things might not be the same, a few years back when you go back again.
Okay, let's talk about the tech stuff now. I know you are ambassador for the X-T4. Maybe you can share with us what you like so much about the X-T4.
Well, I'm glad to say that I've been using the Fujifilm X-T series cameras for the longest time. When X-T4 was first launched earlier this year, and it's something that I really enjoy.
Do you use the previous like X-T3
Yeah.
version? So what's like some of the improvements you feel from the X-T3 to the X-T4?
So I guess the one of the major improvements of the X-T4 over X-T3 is of course the image stabilizer. It's not a must-have, but I guess it's always something that is good to have, regardless of whether is it for video or for photography. I shoot in cold countries where it's shivering, it's so cold, and with IS, right, at least I can stabilize my hand quite a fair bit. And of course for video, needless to say, if there are times that a gimbal is not available to me, I can still get smooth footages even without a gimbal.
Like certain, I realized one function, because I'm a X-T3 user.
Okay.
So one thing that really changed was that they have the still the movie here now, which previously is not. It's a metering, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is also one of the major changes between X-T3 and X-T4.
Is it much convenient?
Yeah,
now?
it's much more convenient. So it's just a click away. So to me, that is very easy. And because of this reason, they have a whole different set of menus for the video and a whole different set of menu for the stills as well. So for example, I'm using a certain film simulation for the still photo, but I need to change immediately to my video. And I just switch. I don't have to worry about the film simulation because
for
it's
me,
a different one.
I have to switch by here.
Correct. So it helps a lot, definitely. And it might be very subtle changes, but when you're outfield, when you're shooting, your mind is always on the subjects and things like that, and not so much about camera. So if you need to think too much to handle your camera, right, it's not as good.
Yeah.
So in this case, it helps a lot. Yeah, and in fact, for X-T3, I was the ambassador for X-T3 also. I was shooting a video coverage for in Africa. So for X-T4, I'm shooting it in Hokkaido, the wildlife in Hokkaido. So I can really experience the differences in all these changes. And of course, another very important aspect that is different from X-T3 is of course the flip screen also.
The previous version, you can't flip like.
Correct. So this one, you can flip in this way. So it's definitely something very useful. And of course, if I need to do selfie or whatever, it's too much easier. But most importantly, it actually gives us a better angle of view with this flip screen. I have to say, initially when I thought about it, it might not really be very useful, but as I use it, then I realized that actually it's quite nice to have it in this way. It's convenient, and it was perfect for me. Yeah.
Another thing I realized was, actually that time I wanted to change the battery, then I realized, the battery different size. So the current X-T4, right, the battery size is actually slightly bigger. Yeah. So the battery life is better also, right, now?
Size comes with a better strength as well. So the new X-T4 battery is definitely longer life compared to the X-T3, which helps a lot. And coming to the battery part, of course for X-T4, the battery charger comes separately. So, but one thing good about the battery charger that comes separately is when you charge two batteries together, it charges simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I guess that's very important for wedding photographers or for travel photographers also, because there are times where we shoot so much, and in cold weather when the batteries drain faster, and if I have to charge batteries one after another, it's time consuming. But if it charges two together simultaneously,
But do you use a battery
very
grip?
good. I actually do. Actually, most of the time I do use a battery grip, but of course I don't have it here. But I handle it better because for wildlife photography, I use big lens. So with a battery grip, the balance is actually much better. Yeah. Another thing that I really liked about the X-T4 is also when we take our pictures, right? Using an X-T3, you see your file number by the top right-hand corner and things like that. But sometimes I like to know how many images have I taken? Have I taken like 500 images or 1,000 images? And sometimes that file number doesn't tell me a lot of things.
Oh.
So with the X-T4, I can show you here actually. It actually shows me the how many images have I taken out, and this is the 16 image out of the 1,000 images, and etc. etc.
Oh, for XT, I don't think I got any images here now.
Yeah, but it doesn't show on X-T3 actually. Yeah, I don't want to think too much. I want to be able to just see and know the kind of information that I want, and that's perfect. Yeah, it actually tells me everything that I need to know. And of course, subtle changes like the eye cup actually uses a new eye cup, so
It's different from
here is plastic, not the rubbery type. So it actually, to me, it's more durable. Because my old eye cups I've replaced a lot of eye cups. Yeah, sad to say.
Why?
I'm quite I can be quite rough lah. I mean, before my travels and things like that. So the clip over here,
Is it different?
it's the same, but it comes with a new plastic fastener.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually more durable. I don't know whether you have experienced it before. I've replaced
The thing broke,
lots of
is
the
it?
clips. Not broke, the whole thing bent and whatever. So the clip just fell out. Yeah, so with all this fastener, it's actually much better. Again, all these things are subtle changes that might not make or break your decision on a new camera. But to me, at least, it's something that I'm sure people have feedback to Fuji before, and they listen to the feedback, and they actually make all these subtle changes to it.
What are some of like the lenses that you use to shoot your photography?
Well, of course, then it depends on which genre of photography I'm doing. If I'm doing wildlife photography, for example, of course, then will be the two main big lenses: the SF200mm f2, which is this lens. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Very heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy, but I guess across the brands, different brands for the 200 f2, this is one of the lightest.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it might look intimidating, but it's actually quite easy to
How's the
use.
autofocus for this?
Perfect, and
Very fast?
fast, sharp. Like I say, also amongst all the different brands, this is actually one of the lightest 200. Yeah, so it's definitely something that I really enjoy a lot. Of course, comes with a hefty price tag as well. But of course, another lens that I used, I don't have it with me here, is the 100-400mm lens, a zoom lens, definitely. Of course, in terms of reach, it's longer than your 200mm. Yeah, in terms of picture quality, it cannot be compared to this lens.
Oh.
Yeah, but for wildlife, these are the two main lenses that I
Usually for
use.
wildlife, you are quite far away from.
I can be quite far away, but I can be quite near also. So
Maybe like camouflage and stuff.
no lah. So okay, maybe just share some examples. I've been going to Africa, Kenya for the last 10 years. So I've done a lot of African wildlife photography. Sometimes the animals can be as close as just beside your vehicle. So I will always tell people, when you do wildlife photography, don't just think about long lenses. Do bring a short lens with you as well, because you never know, some of them might be pretty close to you, and you might not have a short lens to actually photograph the animals that's beside you.
Like always handy to have like a prime lens, like a 50 or 35.
Correct. I mean, for myself, for wildlife photography, if I go to Africa, I usually have 3 cameras with me. Yeah, so I don't have to worry about changing lenses
so
too
it's
much.
just like tap.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, so for wildlife, that's one of the lenses that I use very often, definitely. Other than that, of course, if you talk about street photography, travel photography, I usually have my 23mm with me. I like to use prime lenses, so I usually have a 23mm f1.4 with me, and 56 f1.2 with me, and X16. So this is actually the X16mm lens. So wide angle stuff, which I really enjoy a lot. And this is one
more
of the
for landscapes.
not so much for landscapes sometimes, because even for landscapes, there are times I like to do compression, so I might not even use a 816.
So this one you use more for like street.
For street, I like to use 23mm. For 816,
23mm.
sometimes I like to use for interior stuff when I travel. So this lens is pretty new, I guess maybe about 2 years old when it was first launched.
Do you use this? The one, the 16 to 55.
1655, okay, unfortunately I don't use as much because like I mentioned I'm more of a prime lens user. So no doubt this is a great lens, but I don't use it that much because I don't really enjoy zoom lenses a lot. 816 because only reason why I use the 816 zoom lens because you don't have anything prime that is so wide. Yeah, so definitely this is something that I have to use. Then of course another lens which I really enjoy is the new 50mm f1.0. So a great lens. This is how big the lens is. F1.0.
Do you actually use 1.0?
Okay, recently I did a project mainly with the f1.0 lens on street photography. Yes, I do use most of the footages at f1.0. I always like to tell people, if I don't use at f1.0, so why should I spend that kind of money to buy f1.0 lens?
What's the cost for this? Do you know?
Roughly
estimated.
I think the price is out already, but I cannot remember. I think it's 2,000 plus. I'm not sure.
2,000, they're not yet. So
Okay. So just launched, and I love it to the max. It's especially if you guys do videography as well. If you can shoot at f1.0, I think the
low light situation.
The quality is perfect. And for photo, because it's a 50mm, it's not that wide, but it's not that close up also. I guess it's nice. It's a perfect piece of glass to use. Yeah. Then of course all these I'm talking about travel, street photography and things like that, which is very similar to when I do wedding photography. When I do wedding photography, of course when I do talk about actual wedding day photography, these are the lenses that I really use as well. 23, 816, in the past the 56mm lens. Of course now I would rather use the 50mm f1.0. And these are the few lenses that I really use for my wedding photography.
But usually wedding you will also hold like 2 cameras.
I hold 3 actually.
Hold 3.
Yeah.
Okay.